We had our first big event in April on Arbor Day, or the day after Arbor Day to be precise, but it was a Saturday, so we wanted the Saturday. We planted a tree in a strip of land owned by the city, which is now, I'm happy to say, an official park. It's called Millwood Park, and it's along McLean from Fern to Vine. And we had what we called an urban tree fest. And there we did we actually, through the stretch of the day, did 3 guided tree walks, every one of which had 10 or 15 people enjoying it. And so we decided from that ICT Trees is going to try to have a guided tree walk somewhere in the community every season, spring, summer, fall, winter. This one, I don't know if we're going to call it fall or winter. We've been calling it fall. But I have a little bit of trepidation of figuring out how to do a guided tree walk in the winter. What we will probably do in the winter is have some lessons, a series of classes on trees for what we're calling neighborhood arborists. So be watching for that. We don't have it organized or scheduled as yet, but we will soon. When we did the Urban Tree Fest, as I say, we had some folks that guided the guided tree walks. One of them is Roger Spexarth, who's going to be our guide today. And the other is Bob Nyer, a retired horticulturist from here at the center. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to have to take some advisement here and whether we need to break this up into 2 groups. Roger, do you think you can make yourself heard if we have just one group, or should we make it into 2?
I don't have an opinion on that. It'll be up to you guys if you want. I mean, I can talk loud enough and you guys can get close enough.
You can crowd in?
Yeah, actually, Don will lead my part because he's in charge of the of the Arboretum here now.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
If we go as one, if Roger can talk loud enough,
yeah,
that'll work out great.
Yeah, and I really want this to be a conversation.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And so I want to talk with Don, and I want to talk with those that know. I mean, Bob, if Bob's coming, are you coming?
I'll come.
Okay.
We have scheduled this from 10 until 2 p.m. I'm not sure it's going to take that long to walk the whole thing, but we have this space that we can use towards the end of the guided tree walk, and that's a really good time to have some of those conversations and ask in-depth questions. So we just scheduled it until 2 so we would have that much time. Any questions about ICT Trees? Here's another board member, Mike McCorkle, and let's see, are there any other?
Do education stuff.
He's a wonderful certified, specially certified tree arborist. Any questions? Oh, basics. The building is open. This half of the building is open. The voting is going on in there. There are restrooms inside, around the corner from both doors, north and south. Anything else? Okay, let's get...
Sedgwick County Master Gardeners is a volunteer organization, and we do a lot of our work right here at this office and a lot of other areas in the community, and we're all volunteers, and there's a number of us here today, and it's a lot of people that are wearing little white name tags like that. So those are people that know a little bit about this Arboretum that's and what goes on here. Kansas State and the Kansas Forestry Service has a number of publications. I say a number, it would be a lot of publications on trees. We've got a few of them right here that we've set out, and feel free to swing by and pick them up. I'm going to highlight 3 of them. One of them, which could be really helpful today, is a map of the Arboretum, and this is obviously the paper copy, and then all these little colored dots identify one of the over 300 labeled trees that we have on the property here. And so this is kind of a handy thing to have with us, especially maybe today, of where are we at again, and maybe you see one you like and you might circle it. And if you grab this map, which is on this stand right here, and then inside of it is a list of all of these 325 trees. Oops, I got it upside down. Yeah, of our Sedgwick County Arboretum. So it's it help you. What I think is even cooler than the paper map is if you take your phone and you take a little deal of this QR code. I will show you what happens on your phone. So this screen pops up. So this is a Google Map screen that has all the trees listed that are on this property. You got it right there. And you can zoom in on any particular tree, and I touch this one right here, and it tells you that that's our Chanticleer calorie pear, and there's pictures of it through the season. It tells you everything you want to know, when it was planted, how big it'll get, and everything. So that's what I really like about this online version. Again, just point your phone to that QR code and you're up and running, but there's a ton of information when you get to that map. Two other resources that are over here as well. One is just a list from Kansas State on preferred trees for south central Kansas, and these are listed by size, and so we start with small deciduous, medium deciduous, large deciduous, and evergreen trees or conifers on the back. And then the situation that most of us are dealing with anyway with regards to trees, and that is, this is handy, drought tolerant trees of Kansas. So, and this has also got a list, and they're listed by size as well, although they go in reverse order. So tall, medium, small, and there are evergreen trees listed here. So these are highly recommended. This particular piece was written by Dr. Jason Griffin, who leads K-State's Research Center down in Hayesville. So a super valuable resource. So there's lots of others up there, maps of our gardens and things like that. But these are three that I would highly recommend. Could be a benefit to you.
I'm particularly interested in native trees.
Yes.
Is there such a sort?
I'm trying to think if we have if K-State has a publication on native trees. I'm not fully
It goes
aware
below
of
the forestry line.
Yeah.
But on these, sometimes as long as we're
And a lot of sometimes people will think that that's that my tree's falling apart. Look at that. But,
Lace bark elm.
this is an elm, and it has an elm leaf. It's a lot smaller, but more resistant to Dutch elm and other diseases. It looks like elm leaf beetle.
Whenever we get a rain, drains right through here, drainage area off. The sprinkler system goes off. All excess water goes through here. So this tree, in most any other location, wouldn't work, but it's a microclimate that works for this plant.
So we talked about those oaks earlier, whether red or white family. I mean, if you look real close, you can see a little hair right at the end of this little bristle. It's called an awl, just like a tool would be. So sometimes it's kind of hard to see, but you can barely see it there. So we automatically know that this is from the red oak family, the water oak.
And we're clear at the north end of its zone. He's saying Mississippi, yeah, it grows there.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the mulberry?
Oh, I said if we want one plant, I'll keep it. I'm upset.
What's your opinion on the mulberry?
Oh, I said if we want one plant, I'll keep it. I'm upset.
In my opinion, a pretty strong tree. I love climbing mulberries. They're not like I don't like necessarily cutting them because they have a very sticky sap to them. As soon as you make a cut, it gets almost a foamy. And it's a shingle oak. Kind of like the water oak.
And it's
Willow oak.
and it's called a shingle oak. Why?
I have no idea.
It's a shingle oak.
That's what I've heard. Climbers will tell you it's because it pokes you, because they're always full of these little sticks and they kind of oaky.
Well, if we're talking pokey, come over here and check this out.
That's a good tree. That shingle oak is a good tree for here. It's a great tree for here.
Somewhere asking about
You lost your Cedar Lebanon.
This one in Kansas is in Sim Park near Botanica. This one came out of western Oklahoma, and that's as close to hell as you can.
Sycamore dust in your face, it'll make you sneeze and cough and hack. I don't know if that's why they call it, but it can make you sick.
More sick.
There's
huh?
like a powder on the bark.
Pine diseases, so we're trying to find new ones. So the southwestern white pine is more kind of New Mexico type.
Believe it or not, so one of the things about the white pines is very soft needles. So if you're kind of curious about what kind of pine it is, check out the needles and also come closer. You'll see it's almost like a variegation in the needles. If you see the white stripes in the needles, the variegation, you can a lot of times.
This is Austrian pine, and I would not plant one now. I wouldn't plant Scotch pine either due to the diseases we have with them. And
How many Scotch pines do people have around? You see any?
That are alive?
Yeah,
Hardly any.
I can count on one hand the amount of Scotch pines that I've seen, or Scotch pines that I've seen. We used to think this was resistant to pine wilt.
Quite this big, but they were almost as big as this guy, and they were catty corner from us, and they did test positive for pine wilt last winter.
They really.
We lost them, yeah.
And they were white pines.
It was Southwest white pines. We lost both.
So I think it's just a matter of it
We haven't seen very much of it,
Yeah.
but we had two of them that the pine wilt got them both.
Go ahead.
These guys were planted, I don't know, these are 20 or 25 years old, right?
Yeah, they were this tall when they were planted.
Yeah, like that.
I planted them.
So this whole row, and they've done very well. Last year, we lost. There was one right here, and that's why this guy's bare, because we cut one out this big this winter right here. So we lost 3 of them last year to pine wilt of these Austrians, and that's why Austrians and Scotch, pine wilt's getting them all. So we lost 3 of them last year to pine wilt of these Austrians, and that's why Austrians and Scotch, pine wilt's getting them all. Well, like pinyon pines, it's not getting pinyon pines.
Ponderosas,
yeah. Loblollies, loblollies. I think I'll have you comment more, but pines that are, there's no pines native to Kansas, but the ones that are closer to native to us, like Colorado, seem to be a little bit more resistant. Obviously, Austrian pines are not pinyon pines. Scotch pines are not. So is that right? Yeah.
Once they get in here, I have a feeling once it gets in here, because they're not going to treat for it. That's their whole MO. It'll wipe them out. Because it'll just go from one tree to the next.
And the treatment for it, you have to do it about every other year, and it's very costly.
It's very expensive.
And
You can only do it a certain time of year.
I will say this, if you have a pine that does die from pine wilt, we would strongly encourage you, please cut it down before April 1st. So they're dead right now. They die pretty quick. Oftentimes they die quick. But to slow down or eliminate the disease, it needs to be cut down by April 1st, and you've got to grind the stump down 8 inches deep. And don't save the wood. Don't give it to your neighbor to burn in his fireplace. Unfortunately, it's kind of got to go. Yeah. Well, you can burn it, but you got to burn it early. You got to burn it before May 1st. Because there's a beetle.
Farmland, wheat crops and milo and stuff like that. And then once we got back into this area, the Kansas Wildlife and Parks came in and said, you can't, when they were going to plant wheat and stuff back here as test crops and show what wheat looks like to kids and stuff. And they said, no, you can't do that. And we go, why? They said, well, this is spotted skunk habitat. And so they said from here on back you couldn't do anything. And then about 15 years ago we were having a workshop here, and someone from Fish and Game, or Wildlife and Parks was here. They said, well, this is wildlife habitat for spotted skunk. Why did you let it grow up? Because we were supposed to.
It's the pine wilt nematode that basically is carried by the pine sawyer beetle.
So it's a little nematode is what kills them.
Yeah, which the nematode is a microscopic one.
We're going to walk on down here and then go
Do
through
what?
the nature trail here because it came up on its own to see the wild stuff. And then
You can tip it and then
Identify that tree from a distance. Yeah. One thing I look for is the leaves are already gone. Yeah. Black walnut, they lose their leaves quick.
Sedgwick County as natives. They were collected around the
It almost looks like it's looking you can literally drive by and if you're looking at a tree
There you go. I don't.
One of my jobs used to be getting ready for an event.
oh, that's good. Oh yeah, so black walnut's native to Kansas.